Hello everyone. Today we have a session on digital inclusion and access to justice, and we have a speaker, Mr. Kartik Pant, founding partner of Partner Law Offices.
Hi, Sivanshu. Thank you so much for a wonderful introduction. Good morning to everyone. And I think this session that we are going to talk about is transforming access to justice and the role of technology in legal systems. And I think before we move on to what access to justice is, I want you to imagine a few things, right? Here we are a country of 1.3 billion people. And currently, if you look at the data of the kind of cases that are pending under the Indian judicial system, and this you can find at the official websites, it's more than around 4 crores 44 lakhs cases are pending. And among the 4 crore 44 lakhs cases pending, around 1 crore 10 lakh cases are civil cases and around 3 crores cases are around criminal cases. So imagine how much of pendency there is in terms of court cases. And before we move on, just move on further, I want you to understand what access to justice is. And human beings, we law is nothing, as I see it, is our ability to regulate human behavior and different aspects of human behavior. And today, imagine you sign a rent agreement, imagine you sign a sale deed, imagine you go to a court, you visit a police station. Law is around us everywhere. And as a normal citizen of this country or as a global citizen, you would need some level of understanding of what law is and how regulatory structures work and how justice really functions. However, just like me, all of us would not always have an understanding of how law really operates, because law itself is a very complex phenomenon and lawyers make it even more complex. So idea of access to justice is that each and every citizen should have the ability to understand their legal problems and to be able to resolve them in simplest terms. And under the Indian law, under the Indian Constitution, Article 39A gives you right to legal aid, right to free access to justice. And this is also derived from our fundamental rights, like effectively Article 21 of the Indian Constitution, which talks about right to life, Article 19, which talks about right to freedom, and Article 14, that there should not be any discrimination. But imagine, can you really afford the best of the lawyers in the country? Can every citizen of this country afford the best of the lawyers? We can't. And therefore, it is important. The idea of access to justice becomes really important. And with the sizable increase in the number of cases, with a sizable increase in the kind of contracts, it is important that all of us have access to justice. And today, technology is a great enabler. Right? Why does technology is a great enabler in ensuring access to justice? Something that I'll talk about during the course of this entire session. However, few points which are relevant as are on the screen itself. It allows you great access to relevant information. I think access to information was asymmetrical prior to the advent of internet, but after the advent of internet, access to justice, there is an access available. So if you have an internet at home, if you have the internet infrastructure, you can access information. I think that is very important, because once you have an information, you will have the right to know what your legal rights are, what your legal remedies are. And technology plays the greatest role, be it from the aspect of the geo revolution, or be it from the aspect of Wi-Fi, be it from the hotspot that you might be functioning at, be it this entire conference itself, that today technology acts as a great enabler. Then it improves efficiency and reduces processing time. How does it improve proficiency? Because as you look at the way artificial intelligence works or any technology works, it works on repetitive tasks. So if you are able to feed sufficient data in it, a lot of these mundane processes which otherwise would take a lot of time can be resolved very quickly. And you would imagine the kind of data that is coming to you, the data mining, all of those aspects being covered. So it allows you to improve efficiency and reduce processing time. Earlier, it used to take you so much time to even serve somebody or to serve a summon. Today, you can do it via internet. Today, you can file your cases via internet. So a lot has improved because of technology, right? Then increased tools for dispute resolution. I think this is very important. If you look at the recent revolution, be it in the form of Ecodes, which I'm going to come a little later during the course of this presentation. But today, there are video conferencing, and COVID was also a great hinge factor, right? It allowed people to adjust in their thinking, because they were able to make that leap that technology and virtual events or virtual things can allow people to sit at home and also resolve their disputes. And our regulators, be it in the form of SEBI, be it RBI, be it IRDA, which is for insurance in India, be it the Supreme Court of India, or be it the High Court, all of them are looking at it from an aspect of resolving disputes. Now, the fourth aspect is, enhancing transparency and accountability. How does it? Everything that is there, it's visible online, it's available, and that derives its influence from Right to Information Act of 2005. If you look at Section 6 of the Right to Information Act of India, it really talks about that every citizen of this country has a right to have information. And when you make things accessible to people on the internet, where people can see things, access to justice improves. Virtual communication, remote access, I've really circled around this even previously. Today, Supreme Court judges, High Court judges, regulators are all operating out of virtual courtrooms. You can sit here at any part of the globe and attend your hearing, or to understand what's really happening, and it allows people to not even travel, reduce costs. So there are a lot of those advantages, right? The next element is very important. Reaching the margins of society. Imagine a rickshaw puller or a laborer who has an access to YouTube and who has basic literacy can even type something on YouTube and get access to certain amount of information. Simple things like challan. You are driving along and a police cuts your challan. You can just go on the internet and find what your, how much challan you have to give. Otherwise, it was a hotspot for bribery or for other things. Today a citizen sitting somewhere can understand, what his rights are by just accessing the internet. Yes, there is no doubt that internet again creates a level of inequality, because at times a lot of people don't have access to internet, and especially in India, and that's something that we really have to factor in as an important aspect of it, right? And this really drives into the larger conversation of what sustainable development goals are, and the larger goal of goal 16, which talks about peace, justice, and institutions. And if you were to break down, some of these sub goals under the SDGs, particularly access to justice caters to, I can go one by one on all of the sub goals of 16, but I'll particularly focus on sub goal 16.6, 16.7, 16.10, 16.A, and 16.B, right? Because 16.6 talks about effective, transparent institutions, and that is what technology has allowed us today. And that therefore, technology and access to justice really ties into the sub goal of the Sustainable Development Goal under 16.6. 16.67 talks about inclusive and participatory representation. Imagine the local adalats today. All of them can occur virtually. You can attend a mediation. You can attend certain conferences online, and that allows participative representation. Today, even in this conference, people from all across G20 countries can sit and be participate. Otherwise, it would have taken a mammoth task of organizing people. So exchange of information can happen very quickly. Exchange of laws can happen very quickly. So I think participatory representation from the bottom, I think, if you look at from the aspect of Indian Constitution, and particularly focus on Schedule 9, which talks about the third level of representation, which is Panchayati Raj. There now people have access. That really helps people to get better understanding. 16.10 would be public access to information and protection of fundamental freedoms. Imagine you are you get arrested. Today you can just access the internet and know your rights in the internet. Today you can write an email directly to the SSP, which otherwise would have taken years. You can directly write to the magistrate. The magistrate is going to take cognizance. So all of those things are becoming more and more effective, right? And 16.8, building up national institutions. So largely, there is an interlinking of law with access to justice with goal 16, and that is what effectively, sustainable development goal reaching margins of society would mean. and then today you really can make data driven choices, and your choices are not just influenced by your intuition, it is influenced by your by the understanding that you have in terms of looking at it from a different aspect, right? Now I'm going to talk about what what is it that Indian laws are really looking at. uh, Now some of these technology integration in the Indian legal system. Ecodes is probably one of the best revolutions to happen under Indian legal system, because Ecodes are, one, they are open source, so it does not cost anything to build up a stack of technology on Ecodes. Second, it works on a periphery and a core model. You know what do we mean by periphery and a core model is some of those modules can be defined by the high courts or the district court, but some of those are overall, there are fixed parameters. I think that's an important factor of it. It is effectively very citizen centric. Today, you can, if you know your case number, there is a CNR number, there is the case status. Any person who has a legal case running can just go on to the Ecodes website. It's very easily accessible. You don't need anything. You just need to know your case number. You need to know your party number, and you can get access to all orders. Earlier, it would have taken you eons to try to take out the order from an advocate who must be sitting thousands and hundreds of kilometers away, and that itself, is great. That's a great enabler, right? So, Ecode as a tool has really transformed Indian judicial system, and it is really allowing, and I think it has taken over in three stages. If we can have a detailed session on Ecodes at some other point, but the idea is that under phase one, some amount of technology was allowed. Under phase two, it has become a lot more integrated. High courts and Supreme Courts and are now integrated together. And in the phase three, a lot of these changes are going to happen where it will become data driven. There'll be workflows that will be integrated. Today, Supreme Court of India primarily functions out of these. Everything is virtual courtroom, and all thanks to our Honorable Chief Justice, Justice Z.Y. Chandrachud, who has that vision to be able to integrate technology in courts, because it really is a great enabler to access to justice. And the next thing that I'm going to talk about is National Judicial Data Grid. It is one of the most profound places where you can find all data with respect to any pendency of cases, right? So National Judicial Data Grid is where you can find the nature of cases that are pending, the kind of cases that are pending, the civil cases, criminal cases, at the appellate stage. So any data with respect to legal issues, you can find it on National Judicial Data Grid, and that is something that allows researchers to look at it, that allows people to have an understanding of what is pending, that also allows institutions, to make a more informed choice whether certain judge is performing in an appropriate way, whether, how certain high courts are performing, what kind of pendency there is, what is the nature of cases there is pendency. And I think that allows a greater transparency and accountability in terms of, when there is a single dashboard, and which is very simple. And then legal information management and briefing system, which is LIMS. It's and just to give you a little context here, under Indian judicial system, majority of the cases, around more than 60% of the cases, are being run by the government. And somewhere in the last 8 years, the government realized that if we can dispose of these number of cases, you will be able to really reduce the pendency of cases by a substantial number. So government internally started a system called LIMS, where all departments can see the number of cases that they have, what is the stage at which those cases are, what is the effective resolution, whether mediation can be explored, whether settlement can be explored. So that allows the government departments, which constitutes to be the majority of dependency of cases, to make more informed decision as to how they want to really process it in subsequent cases as well, right? The next is e-filing and online case management system. Now this is important today. Delhi High Court is at the frontier of it, but all the other high courts, as well as the Supreme Court, has taken a lead on it, where you have to submit all your files in the e-court mode, and judges have become very apt at taking care of the Ecodes filing. Now, this helps with the OCR technology that allows one to really look at, there are bookmarking done, that allows the data to also, at some point, what I was talking about previously under phase 3, all of this, all of these files can be allowed to access, can be put into certain data sets to understand how things are really functioning. So Ecode, recently Supreme Court has made it mandatory that all files in India have to be filed via Ecode, that e-filing is mandatory. And these are really important steps and where technology is really coming in. And as I said, artificial intelligence, I'll come to the aspect of artificial intelligence at some other point, but just drawing out some important aspects of what Indian technology under Indian legal system has done. Telelaw program, right? It is something which is a unique thing where the government of India recently started that any individual who has any issues can call on a certain number and can get access to justice. This is important because all of us at every single point does face we do face certain amount of legal issues, and just a phone call away, if you can get an answer to a smallest of queries, I think that would give a lot of satisfaction, and that would be a great change in ensuring access to justice. And then effectively legal information portals and mobile app, which are becoming more and more common, and really making a difference in ensuring that anybody sitting anywhere can know what is happening in terms of their court cases, right? So this was in terms of the changes that have come on the post dispute side of it. I'll explain this a little further. If you were to look at the life cycle of any legal issue, one would be pre-dispute before it comes to the court, and one would be post-dispute. What I was talking about was post-dispute, where courts come into fray. But a lot of our transactions, a lot of our issues are pre-disputes, where you are entering into a tenancy contract, where you are entering into a contract with a company, where you are entering into a contract with somebody else, where you are walking down the street and you see, you don't have to spit somewhere. So a lot of, every aspect of human behavior pre-dispute is being governed by law. And I think that is what technology allows people to, one, have access to, and then understand, and then make good of it and know their rights. And that is the larger purpose that technology is trying to fill in, right? So now coming to the best practices of technology in legal systems worldwide, Korea is at the forefront of it, where the Ecode solutions have already transgressed into phase 3, where big data, where blockchain technology, where smart contracts, where artificial intelligence is playing a very significant role in reducing the pendency of cases. It is similar to the Ecode system, but some years ahead. I think we'll be able to catch up very quickly, and that's also our boundaries between nations have reduced drastically in certain years, right? Now, legal chatbots and virtual assistants. This is very interesting, and each and every one of you would be privy to the the Chatgpt, right? It's considered to be one of the greatest inventions in the last 3-4 years, because it has brought down the NLP processes to a degree where a chatbot is able to answer a lot of your questions, and those questions are not pre-fed. A lot of those are trained over a period of time, and depending on what your question is, the chatbot is able to give an appropriate answer. And it took them years for OpenAI to really train their technology on a large data set, and therefore today, if you ask ChatGPT certain amount of questions, it can really answer you. But there is a caveat there. Too much reliance on there would also be hazardous. So we have to draw a line and maintain a balance in ensuring that you have some access to information. But I would always say it's important to take an advice from a legal counsel, because then they would really understand the depths of it. So chatbots have become very prominent, and ChatGPT is a primary example of it. And otherwise also, everywhere you want to resolve an issue, chatbots have become important, and they're becoming more and more effective, and technology is playing a great role there. Today, while sitting at home, if you have a certain issue, right? If you imagine a situation where where you want to understand how do you file a case under in Delhi High Court. So if you were to really put up something on a chatbot, you will get some level of answer. I think that is where technology is really changing a lot of things. Uh, the next one is the European online dispute resolution platform, and this is one of I think European Union is at the front runner of using technology and also ensuring regulating all aspects of technology, be it data privacy through GDPR, be it so. European Union at times is a model for people to regulate technology and also to ensure the most efficient and effective use of technology. So European Union online dispute resolution platform is if you are a trader and if you have certain issues, you can directly go on this platform and raise an issue. It will go to a mediation. If two people can't resolve it, then it will really, it will try to resolve it through an arbitrator. So while sitting at home, your disputes can be resolved, and that's a great step forward in reducing cases and reducing courts' burden as well to look at cases, right? So that's a model that India is also adopting too. If you look at the recent ODR platform that Security Exchange Board of India, which is SEBI, has come up with, it draws its influence or draws its inspiration from European Union or, dispute resolution platform, where there are certain online dispute institutions which are ready, and they'll be able to resolve a lot of your dispute at all levels. So I think this is going to become more and more relevant and more prominent in days to come. We are still at a very inceptive stage of technology, but I see technology as a great enabler. But we'll come to the downside of technology in some time as well, right? Now, AI powered legal research and document review. This will be a game changer in ensuring, at least from legal professionals side and for people who are working in law, it will allow you to get over with the mundane task and make a lot of changes make a lot of intellectual inputs. So earlier it used to take you a lot of time to even get a tenancy contract. It would take you a lot of time to understand how a certain document is going to look like. But today you can have access to all of these documents. Today, a lot of these new tools which are coming up, which have made uh, the workflows a lot more easier. Just to give you an example, right? I mean, if you were to walk in the corridors of the Supreme Court of India, you will see a lot of lawyers holding an iPad and using a lot of apps to really go through their files very quickly. So the number of papers have reduced. That is important for the environment, right? It used to take tons and tons of paper will be reduced drastically. So AI-driven research centers are becoming important. Now, some of the prime examples in the world would be, Luminescence by University of Cambridge, which is one of the largest AI-driven AI-driven platform for document review and research. I would request everybody to look at it. It is cutthroat advanced technology, and ROS would again be something which is a US-based AI-driven platform, which allows you to it optimizes your time, it reduces your cost, it increases efficiency, and it allows you to make more informed and better choices. So these are some of the best practices that are ongoing in the world, and if you draw it to what the Sustainable Development Goals achievement of it would lead to, and I think there is not just a casual correlation. There is a very deep correlation. If you ensure access to justice by using technology, you will inevitably increase the chances of achieving goals under Goal 16 of Sustainable Development Goals. Now, intervention of technology in civil justice systems. Imagine law to be divided into two fields. One is civil law and one is criminal law, largely. Wouldn't get into the details of it because then it would become a lot more complex. But yes, under the civil justice system, if you look at e-filing and court communications, which I've already talked about, e-delivery of documents, today you don't need, you would prefer also the postmaster to deliver the court document, but today you can directly serve somebody via WhatsApp, via email, and all institutions, be it at the district court level, be it at the high court level, be it at the Supreme Court level, be it at Lok Adalats, be it at so that is becoming more and more relevant. And if you draw it to the idea under, there is a particular legislation called National Legal Aid Authority Act of 1987. Under Section 12 of it, a lot of people have a statutory right to give access to justice. So NALSA is an organization which is continuously working to ensure that there is access to justice, and technology will enable, and technology will allow lawyers from across the board. Somebody sitting in Delhi can give legal remedies to somebody sitting in Chennai. Somebody sitting in Chennai can give access or can give a legal solution to somebody sitting in Guwahati. Somebody sitting in Guwahati can really give an answer to somebody in Himachal. So imagine insurance contracts where you don't know how your insurance is going to play out, but you can today ask somebody directly across either telelaw or other platforms or other places an answer to your query, and that is very relevant. The technology has allowed that to change. Earlier you would have been confined by the topographical boundaries of your place. Imagine you sitting in, say, a local village in Uttarakhand, and there you will not have access to a lawyer sitting in Delhi. But with technology, with a computer, with just a Google Meet, with a router in place, you can talk to somebody and get the most informed choice. So I think that is changing, and technology is allowing that to change. I've already talked about how video conferencing and teleconferencing are changing things. And I think the larger aspect of it is also logistical challenges. Earlier, it used to take days for one to organize a conference, book an entire place, book tickets of people. They would come down. So all of that has changed. So you are not only helping with carbon footprint, you're also making it easier for the exchange of information. You're also making it easier for people to find solutions, and that is the entire aspect of access to justice. Access to justice is not the fact that it's not the fact of somebody getting the finest of lawyer from a place to a place. It is having an access to it, and a lot of pro bono work is being undertaken. We continuously at our firm as well take pro bono cases, be it be it under trial prisoners, who haven't got a hearing in years, be it people of, a certain, who've just been illegally arrested, be it people who there is an unauthorized construction that has taken place. So pro bono activities for lawyers sitting in metropolitan cities, for people in areas which are not generally accessible or wouldn't have been accessible, has become more and more accessible. And I think that's the change that only technology could have made, and nothing else could have really made that change. And I think, as I said, it allows you to have better efficiency. And coming to now this aspect of criminal justice system, as somebody rightly said, I think it was Martin Luther King Jr. which said, injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. And even if, and there is a great saying in law, innocent unless proven guilty, and a non-guilty should not be punished, because those are certain important fundamentals of criminal justice system. And today you see people who do not have money, people who do not have access, they never get a chance to hearing. Somebody arresting somebody, an arrest takes place and then they are taken to remand. They would never even see the light of the day, and cases go on for years and years. And this is where technology is changing. You can monitor what's happening in a particular jurisdiction, what kind of cases are pending, what is the stage at which it is pending. Is it at the summons stage? Is it at the charge stage? Is it at the judgment stage? So all of those are becoming relevant because once one has to understand how criminal justice system really operates. It operates in an area where once you are arrested, one, you are socially ostracized. Second, your life, you're never going to get you. It will become more and more challenging for you to get jobs. You will you will become you'll be typecasted in a particular way. So it is important that our criminal justice system is reformed and transformed to ensure that less and less people who otherwise should not have been behind the bars should not be behind the bars. And injustices have to be reduced, and their technology can be a great game changer, right? If you look at how CCTNS, which is one of those platforms that India has built up, which is a crime and criminal tracking networks and system, which is an indigenous system which is run by the Home Ministry. It allows the police across all nation to communicate with each other and ensure that they are able to effectively operate. So I think that's something that is changing now. If you look at it also allows you to at some point, and I'm not saying one has to really rely on artificial intelligence, but one can go through documents very quickly, and AI has that ability. Once you train it in sufficient processes, I'm not saying that one has to rely on the conclusive finding, but it will allow one to go through documents very quickly. It will allow you to go through translation. And I think if you look at the Indian context, if you look at the Indian context, right? If you look at the Indian context, there are such diverse languages. In Tamil Nadu, one would be a lot of legal issues would be in Tamil. In Karnataka, it will be in Kannada. In UP, it would be in Hindi. In Bengal, it would be in Bengali. So a lot of and that one needs to know that language, and technology has allowed people to ensure that there is translation of language, and also allows people to really understand those documents. And AI, you could not have done it on a normal day-to-day courses. So I think technology is a great intervention there by ensuring that there is a translation of document, that language is no longer a barrier, and it will increase with time. It is not the most optimum today, but it will increase in time. So you can go through, as I was stating earlier, you can go through documents very quickly, and you can analyze these documents effectively and reach conclusions better. It should not take you years to reach, to make decision making, because that time in an individual is never going to come back. So if you find him not guilty after he has been in prison for 10 years, he's already lost those 10 years of his life, and you cannot give him back. And I think technology will ensure that that time period is reduced. Yes, we cannot make any system perfectly fine, but we can reduce this. And I think that is where that draws back to what sustainable development goals would also mean, in terms of ensuring that there are institutions in place which ensures peace, and which ensures that there is justice which is delivered. And as I was talking about, using technology to support reductions in reoffending. A lot of these databases, there are databases today which allows you to see, okay, so there is a possibility, okay, so this person has a criminal record, so you will be able to identify individuals a lot quicker than you would have otherwise. And then predictive analysis and using of AI to predict criminal behavior is something that is getting introduced now. We'll have to be very careful with the way these things really operate. But yes, technology will also play a great role there. I think the next thing that I would like to cover is intervention of technologies in legal aid. And legal aid is, the term aid is very important, because somebody suffers when they undergo a legal issue. And when somebody is suffering because of a legal issue, they should have an access to some kind of legal issue and legal services. and Nalsa is playing an important role. But a lot of these independent platforms, a lot of these new age technology softwares are also allowing people to ensure that they can provide uh, remedies to people in a more effective and efficient manner. So that is important. Online legal portals and virtual consultants is becoming more and more acceptable within our legal fraternity. Access to information from the comfort of homes. I mean, great thing. You don't have to really go miles and miles to a lawyer's chamber to really understand your legal issue and then to find what is the effective remedy to it. Automated process for resolution of small offenses like challan. And I think this is important. You Earlier it used to take months and months for you to even get a challan rectified. Today it happens a lot quicker with the use of technology. If you look at registries, uh, government of Haryana is a good example of using blockchain technology to ensure registry, because a lot of underlying corruption used to happen, but technology allows all of those things to be maintained through a central server by technology that cannot be corrupted, by technology that ensures that all of those things are in process. So blockchain technology is also coming into picture by ensuring that all these legal documentation, which otherwise would have been really challenging, is being met with. The next is, as I said, AI chatbots. Uh, Somebody right sitting in their Ola and Uber can really find an answer to their question, or if they have an access to internet. So Ask Vidhi by Nalsa is one of those things that can be really important. We've already talked about it. Just not circling at goal 16. It is also goal 17, because it's just not one stakeholder that will make the greatest of difference. It is individuals, it is governments, it is lawyers, it is everybody working together in tantrum, in a symphony, to ensure that people get access to justice, and that is important. And 9 would also important, because unless there is an economic advantage for people to build up a technology, they will not really build it up. So I think ensuring that there is enough funding for research to take place. ChatGPT wouldn't have been possible had investors not really invested in it. But India, I think, is a great example of open source. If you look at the Ecode system in India, that's completely open source, that is driven by Ubuntu. It is it does not require any license. So a lot of exchequers money is being saved. People can really understand the source code also behind it. So those are great changes. There are two versions of technology today, right? One version of technology is what everybody dreads. Certain companies operate or controlling everything with respect to data and creating an unequal system. But the other side of it is also there, where there is open and accessibility to every programmer sitting everywhere to find a solution. I think, I wouldn't really transgress into other aspects, but in law today, it is technology can really play a significant role in promotion of literacy through technology. Goal 4 draws, it really touches the periphery of it, because unless you don't have legal literacy, if you go to a lawyer, he could have in a erstwhile era, he could have really told you things, but today you can just Google it up and see whether he is talking in the right way or not. I wouldn't recommend relying completely on Google or on ChatGPT, but it allows you some framework, or it allows you something to look at from a different perspective. So I think promotion of legal literacy through technology is something which is there. I think now I'm going to talk about challenges in technology aided access to justice. Data privacy concern. This is very important. Your data is available everywhere, and imagine your crime history, which is being recorded, being leaked somewhere to the insurances people, where your medical history is being released to your insurances people, where your smallest of data being made available to people who are going to use it in an incorrect fashion, and therefore data privacy is important. Therefore, regulations like GDPR was important. Therefore, California came up with something like CCPA. Now, India recently, in this session itself, has passed the data protection law, and I think that would go a long way in ensuring that there is data which is protected, because it's like air, right? You don't see it, but it's there. Your data is being mined continuously through billions and billions of channels, and somebody is using it in an incorrect fashion, and that is something that we have to be very wary of. Your DNA profiling, your crime history, your the way you look at the internet. So all of those things are very important, and I can't really emphasize it enough to say that data privacy is primarily the most important concern that technology has to look at it from the aspect of access to justice as well. Uh, your data, your things that you have put in on the internet should only you should have control over it, and I think that is where it draws back to the idea of Article 14, where individuals, data subjects, should have control over it. Uh, I think one of the greater concern is poor technological infrastructure, right? And this is also causes a lot of inequality, where somebody sitting in a remote places, if he does not have access to internet, he's already 10 steps behind. And if you keep relying on technology for everything, he's going to get more and more marginalized. So we need to ensure that infrastructure, access to infrastructure, is available at low cost. It is available to everybody. it and it happens at the right frame, right? And we need to continuously keep building on these infrastructure. Today, having the right kind of data centers, ensuring that there is effective things that really happen. So I think all of that has to be catered in, and lack of incentive to transition, right? One has to give keep make these as an economist, I think, who worked on the nudge theory. I think it was Thaler who talked about that you have to nudge people effectively instead of forcing them. You have to nudge them. So advocates, individuals, court systems, government, companies, all stakeholders have to be nudged to ensure transition, but by also ensuring that there is data privacy. And then let's talk about digital divide. As already said, it will create great barriers of inequality, and we need to make sure that uh, there is an open source which is available. Just few companies should not control everything. Government should effectively play a significant role in ensuring that there is access to information, there is access to data, there is access to all the cutthroat research that is taking place. I think last but not the least, especially from the context of our government, is AI biases. Where you have to be very careful with ensuring that you don't rely too much on AI because it's right now it's at a stage where it's being trained. The kind of training that it gets, it can develop biases. So that is something that we need to be very careful of. And what we need to really look at is use of blockchain for legal contracts. This is something that is going to be a game changer in days to come. AI in legal predictions is something that is also going to be a game changer. We need to look out for how blockchain and AI are really changing. As I gave you an example of how registry in today's sub-district magistrate or is taking place via using a blockchain in a number of places. So we need to be looking out for that. And smart contracts, where is again a game changer in blockchain technology, that one should really explore. Virtual reality courtroom, as I said, ODR under SEBI is a great example of it. Mediation centers run by different high courts, different district courts, and even Supreme Court have now gone online. I think that's a great revolution in Indian context. I think these were things that I really wanted to highlight on, as technology is developing faster than ever before, catalyzing profound change across every facet of our life. And to sum it all, right, as Albert Einstein correctly said, right, in matters of truth and justice, there is no difference between large and small problems. For issues concerning the treatment of people, all are same. So I think that is important. Thank you for giving time in this session.